You guys sit down. There has been a breakthrough in the David case, but not in the way you think. And you know what? Something's going on. People are looking at the LAPD and people are looking at the coroner. Is this a trap for David, or is he actually innocent? If you guys don't know, a coroner's report has come back out, okay? Now, the unshocking part is they still haven't determined her cause of death. The shocking part is they were saying that she was not pregnant. They're saying her death certificate, Celeste Rivas' death certificate, shows what we expected, that the cause of passing is being deferred while the LA County Medical Examiner and the LAPD try to establish how she passed away. Their certificate, okay, TMZ got a copy of it, says Celeste was found on September 8th in a vehicle. The manner of passing is pending as the investigation continues. The certificate says an autopsy was performed, but we're told that the medical examiner is waiting toxicology results. Now, here's the part that has a lot of people that are familiar in toxicology crying foul. According to the certificate, they say Celeste was not pregnant, nor had she been in the last year. Now, here's the thing, okay? Now, here's the thing that has everybody talking. How could they be so sure of this? You recall when TMZ spoke to Celeste's mother, she told us she had an eerie feeling her daughter was the one found in the vehicle and revealed she knew she was dating someone named David. David, of course, was born David Burke. But let's get into this, okay? Because a lot of experts are asking, how can they be so sure? How indeed? Okay, let's start this off because a lot of questions need to actually be answered. All right, so let's get into this, all right? Because the one thing is the fact that, first of all, her body was, as you remember, dismembered. First of all, was there even reproductive organs there? We need to ask. Because here's how pregnancy is actually determined in an autopsy, according to the experts. 1, you can do a visual inspection of the uterus. In an attacked female body, the pathologist looks at the uterus. Pregnancy leaves obvious signs if it's far along. A placenta, fetal remains, a thickened uterine wall, sorry. And in early pregnancy or after a miscarriage months before, there may be no visible changes at all. Sometimes they can use a histology, that's microscope slides. They can take small tissue samples from the uterus and the cervix and look for changes that indicate pregnancy or recent delivery. Again, what if the reproduction organs were not there? But this does require the uterus still exist and be decently preserved. They can also do hormone testing with blood urine for HCG. That usually only works in fresh remains in decomposed or embalmed bodies. Hormone levels degrade and tests are very unreliable. So, the only solid way to say she wasn't pregnant is to actually have an intact uterus to examine. But if the body was dismembered, if the uterus was missing, destroyed, or because they said she was severely decomposed, to decompose, you cannot test it reliably. If only skeletal remains are present, you can sometimes pick up fetal bones if it was late term, but nothing in the early stages. Again, this is what makes the coroner's claim kind of shaky, unless they can document exactly which reproductive organs they had. And when you look at the timeline of decomposition and the plastic wrapping, let's talk about that. Plastic accelerates tissue breakdown and preserves moisture. It basically turns the body into a soup in a number of weeks. They said she had been missing for several weeks. Even in cool conditions, soft organs like the uterus collapse fast. Again, she was found on a street in the hot sun sitting out there. It makes me think that the people that actually dismembered and wrapped her in plastic, I think they knew that her sitting out in the hot sun would destroy any evidence that needed to be destroyed. So under these conditions, it's extremely hard to rule out pregnancy in the past year. Now, here's why. Let's play devil's advocate. The coroner might speak definitively. Well, they might have media pressure. Reporters push for quick answers. Offices sometimes give short, simplified statements. This could be a legal strategy. In a high-profile case, statements can be worded to dampen speculation, like she wasn't pregnant, to knock down rumors, and she hadn't been pregnant in the last year. Or, and this is what I'm praying, they're protecting the case. They may have incomplete data, but they're phrasing it strongly to keep the narrative tight. Now, again, this doesn't necessarily mean cover-up, but it does mean that we should read those statements as PR-friendly sound bites, not hard science. Without an intact, well-preserved uterus or a reliable hormone sample, a coroner cannot confidently state she's not been pregnant in the last year in a badly decomposed, dismembered, plastic-wrapped body. The statement is more likely a simplified media line than a forensic one. So I know you guys are wondering, okay, then why are they doing this? Well, let's just say this, all right? What's going on is super, super strange, okay? But why? Why? That's the million-dollar question. So let's break this down. Why the coroner might put out a definitive sounding but shaky statement. One, they want to control the narrative. You guys know that TikTok, Instagram, everybody has been buzzing about the pregnancy rumors. And the office may want to shut that down fast, even if it's not scientifically airtight. They could frame it in the strongest language possible so that it doesn't keep feeding headlines. They could be doing this to protect the investigation. If pregnancy were even possible, it opens a new branch of motive, DNA testing, and legal angles. By saying, well, we don't think she was pregnant, they cut off speculation that could complicate or expand the case before they're ready. And let's not forget media pressure. Reporters demand simple answers. We can't say for sure because of decomposition doesn't sound clean. So they hand the media a black and white statement, even if the science is gray. And there could be political or even institutional loyalty. In high-profile cases like this, let's not forget, coroners often answer to county officials, police departments, or DA offices. If David has power or connections, the system sometimes leans toward protecting the official story instead of leaving questions open. But you guys, and I don't care what anyone says, this isn't conspiracy theory. There are red flags here. Because they said the cause of death is undetermined, which is cautious, and that's scientifically honest. But then in the next breath, they say, but she hasn't been pregnant in the last year, which is a bold, seemingly overconfident statement. Those two don't match. If decomposition is so bad that you can't find the cause of death, how can you suddenly have certainty about something as delicate as reproduction history? Listen, I think this smells like PR, not pathology. They may be trying to shut down the narrative, the pregnancy stuff, while keeping the rest vague. Oh, it's undetermined, so they don't have to commit on anything else. Again, you guys, let's just run this through because I'm going to ask you guys to answer these questions for me in the comments. Please, we need to work together. I've been doing a lot of research on this, and I'm going to do a live tomorrow to actually share my findings with you. But this is why I think the coroner's story doesn't add up. Decomposition versus certainty. They admit the body was severely decomposed and dismembered, wrapped in plastic. In those conditions, soft tissues, like the uterus, break down very quickly. Blood and urine, that's not even stable past a couple of days. If they can't even determine the cause of death, it's inconsistent to suddenly be certain, not only about pregnancy status, but the pregnancy status for the last year. Pregnancy testing limits. Hormone testing, HCG, that's for the pregnancy test, doesn't work once the body is decomposed. Hormones degrade quickly. Microscopic tissue tests require intact uterine tissue, which is unlikely here. And early pregnancies under 12 weeks and pregnancies that ended months earlier leave no obvious skeletal trace. So what does this mean? They can't really rule out pregnant in the last year with confidence. The contradictory tone, weigh in on this. The cause of death undetermined. She's not pregnant in the last year. These two stances clash. If you're cautious in one area, why are you so overconfident in another? And let's not forget the plastic wrapping factor. Wrapping accelerates decay, destroys tissue, and makes testing harder. It basically turns you into a human soup. The environment makes a strong pregnancy determination less reliable, not more. And let's not forget about the motive to control the narrative. Public rumor around pregnancy could change the case's stakes. The motive, the paternity, the DNA testing. By putting out a bold denial, they shut that down fast, even if science can't back it up. So, you guys, last thing, if the body was too decomposed to establish the cause of death, if it was too decomposed to confidently establish, but it wasn't too decomposed to confidently establish, oh, she's not been pregnant in the last year. This mismatch suggests the statement was about controlling the story, not reporting science. You guys, what is going on? I'm side-eyeing the LAPD. I think we all need answers. Let me know what you think in the comments. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.